I was born and raised on the family farm. I got involved with farming with my dad, and then kind of took it from there. It seemed just interesting to be working with the cattle and the crops and the soils.
My husband and his brother and his parents, they've been here in the area over 100 years dairy farming.
My mother had saved $1,000 in a little shoebox. My father didn't even know about it, and they purchased this farm.
Once I got out of high school, I went to farm short course to learn more, everything I could to further the farm.
You have your good times and your bad times. But when there's many years of bad times, that's when it gets painful for all of us.
Consolidation is a real threat to our farm. We're really struggling right now to cover our cost of production, and I don't really know how our farm or other farms continue. These 5,000 cow dairies, 10,000 cow dairies, you're seeing a big complex of large dairies going into western Minnesota and eastern South Dakota. You've got the Texas dairies that are getting bigger. It's crushing farmers, it's crushing rural communities. And you see consolidation and monopoly power building on both sides of that. So the processors, distributors, retailers, so everything that happens to my milk after it leaves the farm, they're getting bigger and bigger and more consolidated. On the other side, I have to buy my inputs, my seed, my fertilizer, and those entities are getting bigger and bigger and having more monopoly power. And then suddenly I'm trying to negotiate with them for the price I pay for those inputs. I have no negotiating power. The consolidation on both sides is really impacting our ability to have a fair shot in the market.
Back in the early 2000s, it was like you could count on every third year being your good year. Now there's no cycle to it at all. It's been 7 years of very tough, low margin. There is no profit literally in dairy. I really don't care what size you are. I don't see where you can make a profit on it. You got to have some niche.
I got involved with organic, studying the pre-chemical era research from universities on how do you modify crops to not grow weeds. Organic price seems to be higher than conventional, and so it made a lot of sense.
We have started hosting farm tours, and that was another part of diversification, of just being able to get a little added extra income coming in. Times are tough on the farm, and any little bit can help.
Oftentimes in the low price period, people just end up producing more. But that's the problem.
We kept growing bigger and bigger to make cash flow, and bigger to make cash flow, because the system kind of demanded it, that you either keep at it like that or you don't.
We grew the dairy here the last few years to bring our daughter in. We had had big talks about what's going to be the future of this farm with her coming in to take over the reins. So we went into the robotics because she's seen how Tina and I, we're doing 14-hour, 16-hour days. So we agreed to upgrade and make the big investment. But it's an investment really that is hard to sustain.
It's obsolete already.
We knew that, but how we looked at it, we're going to swing this, we're going to do it, and we're going to grow the herd, hoping for better times.
We're overproducing, so we're glutting out the market, and that's continually pulling our prices down. And that then further creates this kind of vicious cycle. We don't need more milk.
We were shipping our milk out to New Jersey for quite a few years. Finally, all of a sudden, we got a 60-day notice that he could no longer use our milk. They had no motivation to keep small dairy or even a fairly large organic dairy. Wherever they could buy cheap milk, they bought cheap milk.
The overproduction that's going on in dairy, it's quite clear. You can see where it's coming from. It's not coming from the 100-cow dairies, the 200-cow dairies, even the 450-cow dairies. I am not the problem when you think about what it means to add a 10,000 cow herd to the production system.
I was trying to do everything I could to do it right. I was taking care of the land, I was taking care of the cows, but financially, I was not located in a position that I could survive. We had to just shut down. It was a tough transition. I didn't really know what happened, why or what, or I thought I was doing things right. I can't see anybody not struggling with a transition mental health-wise on not feeling like what you did had any value, because everything I'd stood for in the past was taken away.
Watching people that we know that aren't able to make it, it's heart-wrenching to see what's going on in our communities.
Farmers just never give up. We'll do it right to the end.
And it's not just the farmer that it's affected. It's a spider web that goes out beyond the farm.
We need more farmers, not fewer farmers. And that's about food security. It's important for the people in our country that need access to good, nutritious food. We cannot have these supply chain disruptions.
I had actually even a journalist that researched what happened, and he found that, corporate farms just took the market. So, Paul, it wasn't anything you did wrong. Thank goodness for that. Another large farmer had the same problem I had. It didn't work. Got out, he called me just to say, Paul, there's life after dairy. So I got involved at that point with Dairy Together.
Wisconsin Farmers Union formed the effort called Dairy Together. We have to come together and have a unified voice to find the solutions, building the political power and will to get the policy enacted.
Wisconsin Farmers Union went out to Washington, D.C. to tell our story and what's going on. So I signed up to go out. There was some interest there in finding out what's happening from farmers. So the fly-in was a good experience.
Dairy Together has been working to investigate the policy mechanism options so that they are fully vetted. We know that we cannot solve the problem if we just continue to overproduce.
We're at that point to where our back's up against the wall that we gotta have growth management to curtail some of this oversupply.
And this has to take place before more family farms are gone.
The small farms aren't going to be here anymore, and the knowledge isn't going to be here anymore.
So we have to come together and have a loud voice.
There's a place for us all here in Wisconsin. All of us deserve to have a life on the farm.